right, good afternoon, and welcome to the Public Safety and Government Operations Committee meeting. In attendance today, we have, of course, myself, Chair of the committee representing the 4th District, Councilman Burnett representing the 8th District, Councilwoman Porter representing the 10th District, and Councilwoman Ramos representing the 14th District. All right, representing the Mayor's Office, we've got Ian Themelis. And this afternoon, the committee will have a hearing on Council Resolution 23-0378, unlawful practices, discrimination based on characteristics or status, for the purpose of extending certain protections against discrimination to an individual, regardless of the individual's HIV or AIDS status, other characteristic or status, or association with individuals with a particular characteristic or status, prohibiting the willful use of the incorrect name or pronouns of an individual under certain circumstances, requiring a certain notice be posted in certain facilities, and generally relating to discrimination based on an individual's protected status. This bill was sponsored by Councilman Burnett. I'll open the floor to the sponsor for any updates on the bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. So just a quick reminder, we had a hearing on this, but to review, essentially the bill amends Article 4, Subtitle 3 of the Baltimore City Code to extend some of the existing protections against discrimination to include discrimination based on HIV or AIDS status, gender identity, and a few other characteristics that should be protected under that section of the code. It prohibits willful and repeated use of incorrect names and pronouns, and to better encourage the use of folks' correct name and pronouns, makes public accommodations, and provides additional protections for education, healthcare facilities, welfare agencies, and housing settings. And so we have amendments. If you want me to go through, okay. So the amendments have come from two places, though I consider all of them friendly amendments to improve the bill. Some of them are from the Law Department, and some came from, I think, Legislative Services. So the first amendments, one in, make sure I'm looking at the latest version here. Hold on, y'all. There we go. Yeah, 1 and 2 are, 1, 2, and 3 are amendments from the law, I believe, and they correct some of the constitutional issues with the bill as written, and I'm not looking at the right version here. Here we go. Okay, yeah, now I have it. Okay, I got it now. I'm good. Thank you. I was looking at the first version. Okay, so yeah, 1 and 2. Or sorry, 1 is Law Department, 2 is from Legislative Services, and it just corrects, it's a technical amendment that's correcting where those provisions should be within the code. They were, the original version of the bill, they were out of place. And so it's just a technical correction. 3 and 4 are Law Department amendments that just address some of the wording and constitutional issues that could arise potentially with this. And number 5 extends the implementation date from 30 days to 90 days to give more time for compliance. And again, I consider all of those friendly amendments to improve the bill.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions about the amendments? Okay. I'll turn it over to agency reports, starting off with the Office of Equity and Civil Rights.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We stand by our initial report. I do have some additional information from what came up during the first hearing on this bill, particularly around the jurisdiction of the CRC and how to file complaints. I don't know if you remember those pieces that came up.
Yes. Yeah.
I worked with our Chief of Investigations, Lisa Kelly, to get some additional information. And after this hearing, I'll send a letter to you all as well. So essentially, prior to conducting a formal investigation into a complaint of alleged discrimination, the CRC must first satisfy 4 tests to establish whether or not it has a jurisdiction to handle the complaint. And the tests are, so first, they have to determine whether or not the action took place in Baltimore City. They also have to determine whether or not the complaint was filed within the last 180 days from the last act of discrimination. And the third is whether or not the CRC has power over the respondent. So that just means that if it's a qualified employer, person, public accommodation, educational institution, or health and welfare agency. And then the fourth one is whether or not the CRC has power over the subject matter, which means it's covered under the employment, housing, public accommodations, education, or health and welfare provisions in Article 4 of the Baltimore City Code. And if these tests are not met, the CRC lacks jurisdiction to investigate. However, the Office of Equity and Civil Rights strongly encourages those who believe they have experienced discrimination within the city to reach out to the CRC, even if they are uncertain about whether this specific complaint falls within the jurisdiction of the CRC. In such cases, the CRC can offer variable guidance, provide referrals to appropriate agencies, and/or assist the complainant in navigating the process to the agency that they refer them to. The other piece is, sorry, the ways to submit a complaint. And so the way that the commission prefers people to do is to go online and submit the intake form. But we do recognize that there are some people who lack the technology to be able to do that. So we do allow folks to come into the Office of Equity and Civil Rights, which is 7 East Redwood on the 9th floor, and then we can help them. We have computers where we can log them in and help them with the intake process, or they can set up an appointment with the commission where one of the commission staff will come in and walk them through the intake process. And then the last part, there was also questions about what the actual investigation process is and how the staff and the commission follow up with complainants. And so the first part of it is that the complainant submits an intake form, and that initiates the process. And then the staff will schedule an interview between the complainant and the intake investigator. And then while that is happening, the CRC staff will, after that, they will assess whether or not the matter falls within the jurisdiction of the CRC. And then once the complainant signs, there's a formal charge of discrimination that has to be signed once, they determine that they have jurisdiction based on the interview. Once they sign that, it is prepared for authorization by the CRC board. So the actual board has to authorize the formal investigation. And then if any jurisdictional issues arise, they are addressed after the fact to ensure a swift start to the investigation. And then after receiving authorization from the CRC board, the formal investigation commences and the case is assigned to an investigator. And then the charge letters are mailed to the respondent within 10 days, and then a copy is mailed to the complainant. And then technically with the issuance of the official charge letter, the investigation begins. So there are preliminary steps that are taken in the interim as well so that they can hit the ground running on that. So I hope that kind of clears up some of the pieces that were raised during the last meeting. And then again, after this, I will send the letter out to you all as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the explanation. Helps a lot. Councilwoman Porter, you had a question?
Thank you so much. Mr. Snella, that was very good. I'm very proud of you. That was very comprehensive. I did have one. You always know I have a question. So the 180 days, so you mentioned the complaint has to be documented within 180 days. Is that the first confirmed complaint?
So it would be whatever the last act is.
So what if they did not report it? So essentially, are people coming to the CRC reporting complaints, and if there's no complaint within 180 days, does that complaint start over? Like, what is the process if there's not a complaint or record of complaint from a person 180 days before that person submits a complaint?
So I can talk with Chief Kelly so that I want to make sure I get you an accurate answer, and then I can just send you an email.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. I'll turn it over to the City Solicitor's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Teresa Cummings on behalf of the Law Department. The Law Department stands by our original report and approves the bill with the 5 amendments for form and legal sufficiency. And I'm available to answer any questions if anyone has any. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Department of Human Resources. Turn on the mic, please. It's all right. We're all still figuring it out.
I did this the last time.
If you could speak up and maybe bring it a little closer.
Good afternoon. The Department of Human Resources stands by its original bill submission. We have provided information specifically for Baltimore City employees, and we defer to the Law Department with respect to the other provisions, as well as housing for the other provisions in the bill.
Got it, thank you. And finally, the Department of Health.
Julia Roche from the Health Department is joining virtually. I don't know if we are able to allow her to testify virtually. Otherwise, I can speak on her behalf.
Please do, go ahead, Julia. You're muted.
How about now?
There you go.
Thank you. Sorry, it's my first time testifying virtually at council. Well, good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. The Health Department stands by our favorable report on this bill and happy to answer any questions you may.
Thank you, Julia. Any other questions? Any other questions from the committee? Okay, I will entertain, oh, we did public testimony last time. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the amendments.
I move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Burnett, second by Ramos. Conway, yes. Burnett,
Yes.
Cohen is absent. Costello, absent. Glover, absent. Porter,
Yes.
Ramos. Yes. It passes 4-0. All right, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the bill as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Porter, seconded by Burnett. Conway, yes. Burnett,
Yes.
Cohen, absent. Costello, absent. Glover, absent. Porter,
Yes.
and Ramos. Yes. All right, the bill will move to second reader on Monday.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you. This bill is in recess. Thank you.